Hello everyone, welcome to the video on congestive heart failure treatment. In my previous video, I have explained the pathophysiology of congestive heart failure and what all the major types of congestive heart failure is. In this video, let us see what are the major groups of drugs used to treat congestive heart failure. But to understand them, we need to understand certain terms like preload and afterload. Then we'll see the pharmacotherapy and primary treatment of congestive heart failure. This is my YouTube video channel. If you like the video contents, do subscribe and share. Let's get into the topic. Now, congestive heart failure, as the word indicates, heart has failed to pump and the cardiac output is reduced. Cardiac output means the amount of blood which comes out of the heart. And because of this, blood gets pools inside the heart, and that is what results in congestion of the heart. Collectively, it is known as congestive heart failure. And that results in dilated ventricles, and the amount of blood which comes out of the heart is also reduced. Cardiac output is reduced and ventricular dilation is there. So this is how it looks, enlarged heart. And depending upon the side of the heart, like if left ventricular failure is there, it results in pulmonary edema, accumulation of fluid in the lungs. If the right half of the heart is failed, it results in accumulation of fluid in extremities like legs and feet. This is called as peripheral edema. So these are all the major types of congestive heart failure. Now let us understand these words preload and afterload to understand the pharmacotherapy of congestive heart failure. Now preload means the volume of blood in ventricles at the end of diastole. So diastole means relaxation. During that relaxation, heart gets its blood. So all the blood will get into the heart, and this volume of blood before contraction is known as preload. Pre means before contraction, load means what is the amount of blood present inside the heart. So this is called as preload. To get the things even properly, see, preload means volume of blood received by the heart when it receives during diastoles. So basically preload is stretch of the heart, because the volume will put pressures on this heart, so that causes a kind of stretch. Imagine a balloon. When you start filling water in the balloon, what happens? The water will put pressure and balloon bulges or balloon stretches. That is how our heart also responds to the blood inside the heart. So this is about preload. Now about afterload. Now afterload means the resistance left ventricle must overcome to circulate or pump the blood. Understand this one. So this is left ventricle. Now from the left ventricle, oxygenated blood is pumped out of the heart through aorta. So this is what is general physiology is. So look at this. In order to pump the blood from here to aorta, the left ventricle must contract forcefully so that blood reaches to aorta. Or in another sense, imagine in aorta there is 80 mm of Hg pressure is there. So whenever the blood is there, there will be some amount of pressure. So in aorta you see 80 mm of Hg pressure. So what heart has to do? The left ventricle at least generate, or more than 80 mm of Hg pressure should generate it. Then only the blood can go from here to here, because it is already 80 mm of Hg pressure is there. You need to generate more than that pressure, then only blood will be pumped out of the heart. And this is what is known as afterload. So technically afterload is pressure the heart has to overcome to pump or eject the blood. It is squeeze. That means heart has to squeeze forcefully, contract forcefully, then only blood goes out of the heart. Now these two are important determinants, because if preload is increased, the stress on heart is increased, and that is what results in cardiac remodeling. If afterload is increased, the stress, the pressure that must be exerted by heart will be increased, and it damages cardiac ventricular walls. So these are the major determinants. So when you are treating congestive heart failure, the basic job has to be reducing preload, reducing afterload. And because cardiac output is reduced, the next job is to increase contractility. And finally reduce remodeling of cardiac muscle. Remodeling is nothing but the ventricular dilation will be there. That is what is called as remodeling of cardiac muscle. So the pharmacotherapy is aimed at 4 major things. 1, we need to reduce preload. 2, we need to reduce afterload. 3, increase contractility. 4, reduce remodeling. Now this is possible with the set of drugs like, see, diuretics. Diuretics will reduce the fluid volume in the body. So overall what happens, blood volume is getting reduced. Preload is because of amount of blood which exert pressure on the heart. So when you reduce the amount of blood by diuretics, the preload reduces. Similarly, ACE inhibitors, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors or angiotensin receptor blockers, both of them will cause a kind of vasodilation, due to which the amount of blood reaching heart is reduced. That means preload is reduced. Similarly, venodilators, understand these things. See, when veins are dilated, see how the blood gets, how the heart gets the blood through the veins. When veins are dilated, blood falls back and this preload is reduced. So the major groups which aim at reducing preload is diuretics, ACE inhibitor and ARBs, and venodilators. Now the next one, reducing afterload. Again, see, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors and ARBs, see these two, what do? They reduce the amount of angiotensin 2, which is a potent vasoconstrictor, as well as it releases aldosterone and increases fluid in the body. So when you use these kind of drugs, both preload and afterload is reduced. Next one is arteriodilator. Understand this one. See, preload is related to venodilation, afterload is related to arteriodilation. Why? Afterload is related to left ventricle. Left ventricle pumps the blood into aorta. So when this aorta is dilated, what happens? The pressure comes down. So in the previous example I have explained, imagine the pressure is 80 mm of Hg. If arterial blood vessel is dilated, the pressure falls to 70 mm of Hg. So heart should generate more than 70 mm of Hg, that is enough. So when this pressure is coming down, afterload comes down, and that is what is done by arteriodilators. Now the next group, increasing contractility is possible with digoxin, beta agonist and phosphodiesterase 3 inhibitors. These drugs are known as enodilators. These drugs are known as inotropic agents. Inotropics. Now, positive inotropy means increasing cardiac contraction. So these drugs increases cardiac contraction and hence contractility is increased. Now the last group, decreasing remodeling of cardiac muscle is possible again with angiotensin 2 blockers like ACE inhibitors and ARBs, spironolactone, an aldosterone antagonist and beta blocker. Understand the pharmacotherapy. See, this is the only drug, only condition, congestive heart failure, wherein we will be using beta agonist to increase the cardiac contractility, whereas beta antagonist or beta blockers used to reduce remodeling. It depending upon the condition. If someone has got very low cardiac output, then these drugs are used. If someone's heart is very highly enlarged and very high amount of remodeling is there, then beta blockers are used. I'll explain it again. Look at this. So the primary treatment is basically these drugs are used because this one, it reduces preload as well as afterload, ACE inhibitors and ARBs. Beta blockers to reduce remodeling. Now diuretics, again they reduce preload and they are very safe drugs. Vasodilators like hydralazine and isosorbate dinitrate are also used to treat chronic CHF. In elaboration, see, heart failure results in reduced cardiac output, and this reduced cardiac output is sensed by body and it activates sympathetic nervous system. It results in vasoconstriction. But unfortunately, activation of sympathetic nervous system also results in release of angiotensin 2 and aldosterone, which finally causes ventricular dilation or cardiac remodeling. So this is what happens in heart failure. Now, depending upon the condition, drugs are used. If cardiac output is very low, inotropic agents like digoxin are used. If sympathetic nervous stimulation is very high, beta antagonists are used. Similarly, if vasoconstriction is causing damage, vasodilators are used. Now, to avoid cardiac remodeling, ACE inhibitors, ARBs kind of drugs are used. Again, to reduce the fluid accumulation, diuretics are used. So understand, see here inotropic agents, you have beta agonists are there. When cardiac output is very much reduced, these drugs are used. If cardiac remodeling is happening, beta antagonists are used. Excuse me. Now this is the last thing. See, this is a normal curve. In normal heart, what happens is stroke volume means the amount of blood coming out of the heart with increased filling pressure. If more amount of blood is there inside the heart, with every contraction more amount of blood comes out. So this pressure is related to the volume of blood coming out of the heart. So this is what is depicted here. See, in this direction pressure is increasing, and this one stroke volume, the volume of blood coming out. See, when the pressure is increased, this is the stroke volume. When pressure is even more, this is the stroke volume. So this is the normal heart. Whereas in case of congestive heart failure, the failing heart, this is what happens. See, increasing pressure, no increase in stroke volume. This is the cardinal feature. So to treat that, three major courses of drugs are there: inotropes, vasodilators, and diuretics. They will be used in combination to increase this stroke volume or amount of blood coming out of the heart. So the major courses are inotropic agents, vasodilators, and diuretics. Usually they will be used in combination to get the desired effects. So this is the basic pharmacotherapy of congestive heart failure. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, do subscribe and share.